Hello class, my name is Sue Gavalis, and my presentation is on religious freedom, a conflict of rights. The main article that I used for my presentation is titled Leaked Draft of Trump's Religious Freedom Order Reveals Sweeping Plans to Legalize Discrimination. Through the years, religious freedom has been used to justify slavery, suffrage, for and against, and discrimination with the passing of Jim Crow laws and segregation. The quote on the slide is an example of how religion was used for such justification. It is from the book published in 1947 by Senator Theodore Bilbo. In the book, Take Your Choice, Separation or Mongrelization, he writes that racial purity is God's gift. The most recent laws that promote discrimination are the RFRAs, or the Religious Freedom Restoration Acts. These types of law acts represent a conflict of rights. Such religious freedom laws are put in place to protect persons and businesses that believe that they have to answer to a higher power, or the natural law school of thought. This group looks to the past and tradition, the historical school, in creating new laws. On the other side of the fence are those that believe that the written law should be the supreme law of the land, legal positivism. Here in the United States, the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, and those decisions become a matter of law. This practice forms the doctrine of stare decisis. Today's Supreme Court holds more to the legal realism, basing their opinions on society needs at the time, and as long as that decision remains in line with established constitutional law. Another conflict of rights is the state rights versus federal. Who has the ultimate say in the passing of religious freedom laws? Right now, it is in the hands of the states, but that can change under the Trump administration. It is the duty of the Supreme Court to rule on the constitutionality of the decisions made by lower courts. This sounds rather simple, but it is a long process, and SCOTUS might not even take the case, and if they do, the federal Supreme Court's decision will be binding on the lower courts and become a matter of federal law. The Constitution's First Amendment assures all citizens the freedom to practice their religion according to their personal beliefs. It also assures us freedom from religion in the Establishment Clause, since the government is not allowed to make an official state religion, or by favoring one set of beliefs over another. The Supreme Court case of Lemon v. Kurtzman in 1971 set the bar for the testing whether a law was constitutional in regards to the Establishment Clause. The Lemon test holds that a law or policy is be constitutional if it does not have a religious purpose, 2, does not favor one set of beliefs over another, and 3, does not overly involve the government with religion. Another constitutional law is the separation of church and state. Contrary to popular belief, this concept is more about money than religious freedom or even free speech, also protected under the First Amendment. The law was passed as part of the tax code because then Senator Johnson was upset when local district churches supported his opponent. If religious organizations and/or their representatives mix religion and politics, they can lose their nonprofit status. Trump has promised the religious community that he will repeal the law, bring up religion organizations to support or oppose a candidate for public office. This can represent a huge cash flow into campaigns, as well as support from the pulpit for the official that promises to advance the cause of religious freedom that best matches their beliefs. This map is the latest map I was able to find showing states that have RFRAs. It is from March of 2015, and as you can see, PA is one of them. The other item to note is that as of the date of this map, West Virginia law was the only one that actually failed. States began passing RFRAs starting in the 1990s when a Native American by the name of Al Smith was fired for smoking PLK in a Native religious ceremony in 1990. The fight went to the Supreme Court, which ruled against him. And in response to that ruling, Clinton signed the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act in 93, and in 97 the Supreme Court ruled that the act was unconstitutional, but it only applied to the federal ruling, which allowed the states' versions of RFRAs to remain. Jumping ahead to 2015, when the Supreme Court ruled that marriage is a right for all citizens, and same-sex marriage became legal at all 50 states in the case of Obergefell versus Hodges. At the end of 2016, 21 states have passed or amended their own RFRAs in response to that case. Now, Trump campaigned to the ultra-religious voters by promising to sign a bill to protect their religious freedom by making it legal to discriminate based on the concept of strongly held religious beliefs. Earlier this year, a White House document was leaked titled "Establishing a Government-Wide Initiative to Respect Religious Freedom." The draft states that, quote, Americans and their religious organizations will not be coerced by the federal government into participating in activities that violate their conscience, unquote. This draft, if passed, will protect people and organizations who object to same-sex marriage, premarital sex, abortion, and trans identity based on religious beliefs. The problem with the potential bill is the definition of religious exercise. It is so expansive it has practically no restrictions. Experts are also concerned with the definition of religious organizations, which can include non-public corporations that are held for profit. This has the potential to touch every walk of everyday life, including the social services, education, healthcare, wage earning, job seeking, or just being an employer, receiving government grants and contracts, taking part in the general marketplace, or interacting with federal, state, or local government. Experts are concerned that the potential bill exceeds the authority of the executive branch and violates the Establishment Clause, since the objectives are more in line with Christianity. The draft holds similar language to a bill passed in Mississippi last year, which a federal district court held that it did violate both the Establishment Clause and the Equal Protection Clause. Now on 2/2 of this year, the White House claims that the draft is one of hundreds, and not all are likely to become policy. Just a few days before that, the White House reported that Trump will allow Obama's executive order protecting federal employees from anti-LGBTQ discrimination, and will continue under the new administration. It is my personal belief, based off the textbook and my research, that this draft will never be passed unto law, for it does violate the Establishment Clause and fails the Lemon Test, set back in 1971. Religious beliefs are a personal matter, and religious freedom is the right of all citizens, protecting freedom to practice and the freedom from religion. That is the true meaning of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. My final slide is my list of sources, including the feature article. I want to thank you for watching my presentation, Religious Freedom, a Conflict of Rights, and any comments will be greatly appreciated. Thank you.